Now we're going to get into the tech talks with the Janchi Show. Yeah, there's a whole new thing about NFCs I've been watching online where you can get these little stickers, really cheap stickers, and put them anywhere you want. And that can be like a trigger with your phone, and it'll do something. You can actually, in your iPhone, trigger stuff like play your favorite podcast or, things like that.
I thought you guys were talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
All right, well, that's been Tech Talk with the Janchi Boys.
Here we go.
You're listening to the Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
Welcome to the Janchi Show. It is I, your favorite host, Patrick, here
dictator.
with my always reliable, incredible co-hosts, Nathan and KJ. Fellas, tell them what's up.
Hello.
All hail to the Patrick, the dictator of the podcast.
We are doing just
If you guys are
whatever
going to gas
Patrick
me up
says.
like that, I'm going to keep... If you guys are going to give me that fuel, I'm going to drive all the way to the supermarket and back. And I'm going to come back with groceries.
I noticed you guys always say, it is I. When you're like introducing the show, and I'm always like, oh, what? I never say I. There's no I.
It's the formal way of saying it.
Okay.
Tis I.
We speak in Chondemao. We don't speak
I
in
see.
Banmao for the podcast listeners.
For those listeners, KJ, why don't you tell them what Janchi means really quickly?
Janchi means to feast or to celebrate. It's probably an older Korean term, but that's what we're saying. That's what we're using. That's what we're doing. Feasting and celebrating.
Janchi.
Heyo. All right. Well, we are back with another edition of the Korean Culture Dictionary.
Janchi Boys read.
Janchi Boys read. That's a good segment. Hashtag Janchi Boys read. Hashtag Janchi read. I don't know. Listeners, you figure that one out and tag us in that post. But this week we are talking about family structure and etiquette in Korean society. Nathan, what was something about the family structure in that little aside that we read that you stood out to?
Yeah, well, in this Korean Culture Dictionary that we're reading here, it had some interesting structure, which we kind of already knew that we were talking about. The eldest son being the one who wears the pants in the Korean family, I guess specifically is how it puts it. Because it does come from a male-dominated society back in the day. So the eldest son, which this is the part that we were discussing earlier amongst ourselves, is about how to say it. The 장남, the major pillar of the family, received the preferential treatment. So if any of you are the eldest son, you probably know. I mean, think about royalty and stuff like that too. It's always the eldest son who becomes king, right? So
Indeed.
there you go. So
Indeed.
there you go.
Nathan, you are technically not the
I am
Jangnam
the youngest
because-
male. However,
youngest.
Oh, but he's the Changnam of the Janchi Boys. So,
That's true.
he's the oldest and the
true.
littlest.
That is true. What about you, KJ? What was something that caught your eye here? I mean, I feel like we had talked about this previously in our Yu-Gi-Oh episode. And I felt like this really tied into that.
Yeah. That's never going to stop in my head, which is real unfortunate. I think the thing that was interesting to me was up until the Goryeo dynasty, the women's status in the family was on par of that of the men. So that's the dynasty right before the Joseon dynasty. The Joseon dynasty may or may not be like one of the longest running dynasties. Certainly that is like the most recent dynasty until we get into, I guess, quote unquote modern Korean history. So it was pretty common. And then the Joseon dynasty came, and I don't know if Yugyo was just like super enforced by the Joseon dynastic rulers or what, but that's when the separation of men, male and female, really became a big deal. And then I was also interested in the 7 valid vices that serve as the ground for divorce, or the chilgojiak.
Chilgojiak.
So that's women are. These are the 7 reasons that a husband could legally divorce his wife. It can't go the other way around, according to this. Women are disobedient towards in-laws. They're unable to bear a son, which isn't their fault. Adultery, jealousy, hereditary disease, talkativeness, and theft.
that one cracked me up a tad bit when I read that. I had to
Yeah,
I had to
three.
tell that to Allison. I was like, look,
It's like equal parts
Morse
funny and
was too
tragic.
talkative. It is, right?
Well,
It really is.
I think it's however funny I think it is. It has to be that tragic because
Yeah.
like then you just know.
Well, it's like they were just reaching for the reasons. They were just like, all right, theft. Throw that in there. Hereditary disease. Yeah, that should probably be a reason.
yeah.
Just like, what was happening? I want to be in that room, like, when people were like, these are going to be the reasons. Like, what was going on there? What was going through their minds?
So that's interesting. And then it goes on to talk about like how, despite having their lower status, I don't know. I just feel like women had a lower status. Let's not try to like put lipstick on a pig here. That was just an unfortunate reality of times, and things are changing now. So hopefully it continues to get better in Korea, and that there's more gender equality moving forward. But we're in America, and we're also fighting for that. So
It did talk about the turning point that like you said, that times are changing and things are a little more modern these days. And that's a good thing. I think we are in a time period where we are experiencing these changes worldwide too. I mean, it's not like it just happened, thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago. These are all happening, this century, or I guess the 1900s, I guess,
yeah, 20th century, last
yeah,
century.
20th century. It's still it's recent, which is pretty amazing. So who knows
I
what's
thought-
going to happen?
Before we leave this and move on to Korean etiquette, I just wanted to say Sarah and I have been watching Run On, which is it's a Netflix. I think it's a Netflix property, as I'm pretty sure Netflix has bought a couple of Korean television production companies. So I think Run On is a Netflix property, and it's interesting because Run On specifically seems the most progressive K-drama I've watched yet, and I've only watched like 3, so take it for what it is. But I'm pretty sure they imply that a couple has premarital sex, and they imply that someone might be gay, and the women are like super powerful and really fight up against this yugyo, that is deeply ingrained in the culture. So it's just interesting, like knowing that Netflix is backing it, financially, and like trying to be like, whoa, they're trying to like ride the Hallyu, but like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's not the worst thing. That there are more progressive K-dramas, and for them to be
Right.
closer to, I guess, like an NBC property here in America is really exciting. Just to, like sometimes it takes a thing happening in pop culture for people to love it, for actual like legal systemic change to occur in a nation. So K-drama is quite teen.
And you have to assume who's watching these things too. I mean, the fact that I'm sure there are some younger generation people watching these things. That's what we need, is them to see this stuff and this change, because they will be the ones that will be forcing the change.
Yeah.
So if you have all these old school traditions in the shows, then you're gonna have people still following these to a point. So I don't know what the demographic mainly is for K-dramas, but I guess it depends on which K-drama we're talking about. But
I think it's probably pretty diverse
Yeah.
now. I feel like I see everyone and their mom saying that they watch K-dramas, except for me. I watch one episode of multiple K-dramas.
It's like, yeah, I just want the sampler.
Stitch them
more
together.
than me, then.
Yeah, I just want the sample pack. That's it.
Can I have the triple dipper?
What about
Which sauces do you want with that?
So, Patrick, when you started reading the next section about etiquette and stuff, what did you think about that? Did you know about the offerings section?
I know that the two hands, like using both hands, is very prevalent, but I guess I didn't really understand or know the full reasoning behind it. So it was nice to kind of learn a little bit more of why that was. Just as, a sign of respect. And something that really made me laugh was to not touch an elder on their head.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, what?
That
Where did
gave
that
me
come from? I know.
that gave me a chuckle. It's acceptable between friends, but must be avoided.
How many
At
people
all
are
costs,
going
essentially.
around touching people on their heads,
Well, it's obviously enough to where it's taken up a prominent section on the first row of reason
With
of
a photo,
reasonings
no
for
less, too.
what you do with your hands. But yeah, I mean, that was I think that was just getting a little bit of foundational about why. So like when I see these acts happening in person, I know what's going on, and I understand it's like, why are you doing that? And also, so when I am meeting people in person, I don't do the wrong thing.
like touch their
I
heads.
have an idea of
You just immediately reach
'cause
for their forehead.
Instead of going like this, I'm going like this and just coming
That's really
down
great
for
for an
some
audio
reason.
medium. Can you explain that?
Right. So for the listeners at home, instead of using both hands and holding palm up, I was palm down and coming down onto the head of an elder.
Trying to
which
push
is rude
them
and
down
must be avoided.
into their place
Yes.
as below you because he is American.
Well, I want them to take their seat. I want them to take their seat so I can then pour
So
their
it's
drink.
funny the two-handed thing. I knew that was a etiquette thing, and it's so ingrained in my head to sometimes use one hand for things, like when I pay for something. I remember, I can't remember. I think it was at a Japanese market, because I know Japan does that too, where it's the two-hand kind of etiquette thing where you hand somebody that way. And I just remember thinking in my head, okay, use two hands when I give things and not one. But I had to consciously think about it because I'm so used to just handing something over to somebody with one hand and just, here you go. And if you think about it, it's so casual, and so just, here you go. You're just almost forceful. Here's $1, or here's something this.
Right.
But when
You
somebody
basically
does
just
it,
throw it at their face.
yeah, exactly. But when you do it with two hands and, you kind of lean forward and hand it to them, it definitely seems more polite. And
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, especially in conjunction with like the bow, which we're probably going to talk about here in a
Nope.
second. But yeah, it's just
No,
we're
we
not
don't talk
going to.
about bowing on the show.
Okay, you're right. We blasted past that. I forgot.
No, actually, I think when I went to that Korean restaurant, I like specifically thought about it. I was like, I need to give and receive my credit card with two hands. I did neither of those things. But also, I was like, oh man, this is weird. Like, as a disabled person, it's fine. Like, it just makes sense to just give something over with one hand. But then, like, with two hands, like, it makes it super awkward for me because my arm is so much shorter, and then I have to like T-Rex it, like a card over to someone, and then I'm like definitely bowing just to like try to get the arm length. That, it's a weird song and dance, and so it's an interesting thing.
It says you can do it, though, with your hand underneath it, too, though. So, like,
Yeah,
supporting it. So can you?
I don't know. It's a weird thing. I'm moving my arms and trying to make it feel natural, and it's just not natural.
Our producer Jerry left us a note in the chat saying there's also a level of respect correlated to how close your hands are. So super formal, your fingers would touch like for the guests at home, fingers touching.
Just imagine your fingers touching together,
Yeah.
and then that's how it is.
Kind of formal. You can sort of put your other hand at the shoulder of the hand you're using to give something. Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So it's like you're crossing, and then you're handing out.
Interesting.
Wait,
it's
what?
like a.
Am I doing that
It
right?
feels very German Hail Hydra-y, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't
when
get it.
when you put
slide
your
it
hand
I don't
on
get
your
it.
shoulders or your elbows,
The closer
Guys, this
together,
is-
the more
that's when I
respect.
start getting, it's a little...
Sure. Okay, I get
different,
that. The closer your hands are, the more respect you are passing along.
Yeah. All right, so now let's go into another very visual topic: bowing.
We're going to explain.
This is a lot of visuals. We're gonna have to put this one on
Sure,
YouTube.
you can
for
explain
sure.
what we're doing
Seems
and all
fine.
of this.
Yeah,
That's fine.
You see Jerry chilling in the corner.
I think people know it. I mean, they can visualize two hands giving something and two hands.
I don't know.
underneath one
I just
another.
confess to my wife that whenever I read things or like try to imagine things, I can imagine the landscape of a thing in a book, but like the people are just basically little more than mannequins to me. So I have a terrible visual ability to see things in my brain hole. So yeah,
Well, it's a
not
good
great.
thing this book uses Legos to show you how to bow. I thought that was amazing, by the way, that they have little Lego figures.
Dude, I wasn't prepared for the math. Or the trig, rather.
I found that to be weird a weird use because they talk about where you put your hand when you bow for the standing bow, which is crossed over your belly button. But at the Legos, you can't cross
True.
your hands.
You can't.
They have these little C arms that only have one point of articulation, up and down.
They need different.
So I laughed about that.
And so that's something I have witnessed as well. If you've ever flown one of the airlines, like Korean Airlines, I feel like almost every single time I've flown something like that, they are standing there with their hands across their bellies like that. It is very kind of almost formal when they're welcoming you. So
And what is that bell? What is that called in Korean? That type of belly bow?
bakop insa,
Belly button bow. Sorry,
belly button,
not just
bow.
a belly.
Bakop, bakop insa,
Bakop
Bekopinsa.
bakop insa.
Bekop.
Yeah.
Well, even just the hands over the belly button posture is gongsu, the default form when adopting a polite attitude. says
Yeah.
the book. So that's even without
Left
the bow.
hand over right hand for boys, right hand over left hand for girls. If you are gender non-conforming, I don't know what to do. Like,
Right?
do something with your elbows, I guess. I don't know.
Cross
I think
your
you can probably
fingers.
choose.
Yeah, you can try waffle it.
Just waffle fingers. I hadn't realized that though, that there was a difference in left hand over right or right hand over left. That's an interesting thing to remember. I wonder why that is like that. Again, just separation of gender, or
Yeah, it probably goes back to that yugyo. Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
Dang it.
what?
KJ, how do you pronounce the standing
what's the other
bow?
bow?
Gyeongre.
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 That's really hard for me because it's an R and ye combined.
Right. That's why I wasn't really
So,
understanding when I was trying to
gong-
pronounce
So we essentially have
earlier.
5 standing
Gong-
bows.
Yeah, get ready for some trig, y'all. Here we
Yeah,
go.
5 standing bows, all at different degrees.
Yep.
Go ahead,
So-
KJ.
There is the pankyongre, which is the half bow. Bend your waist 15 degrees. This is used when returning a bow, elder person to a younger person / lower rank person. There is the
I was practicing.
gyeongre, which is the standard bow. This is 30 degrees when greeting someone older than you.
No more.
Not to be confused
No
with
less.
the kun gyeongre. It's the big bow, which is 45 degrees. Which is, I mean, like, I don't know that I'm smart enough to bow in 15-degree
I
increments.
know, right?
That's about like right
So,
here.
and then
30.
there is
15.
the 90-degree or folder
Thank you for
bow.
those visuals,
Also
Patrick.
No problem.
Isik Gyeongre. Actually, Jerry, do you know, would it be pronounced Isik or Asik? Asik.
Vishik,
If it's I at the front of a thing.
like a we.
I. Ishik. Okay.
Vishik.
So, because
Vishik.
that particular combination of vowels at the end of a thing is often pronounced as A. So, that's very confusing to me. So, Ishik Gyeongre. Bend at your
The
waist
folder bow.
at 90 degrees, performed at ceremonies. So, this is the big deal bow.
This is
very
all the way
traditional.
down. Try not to tip over.
But it's still standing, which I think is important to say because there's also the
Yeah.
sitting bow or the jol.
Yeah, so these are the sitting bows, which are definitely more formal. I have only seen these when I'd say the participants are wearing hanboks or some traditional clothing. So it's definitely more formal. Jul, sitting bows. Gyeongjul, the full bow. Kun. Kunjul. Full big bow. This is the most formal and polite of all the bows. It's essentially when an elder who doesn't have to reciprocate the bow, this is where they would be bowing to them, the spouses, the ascendants, this is kind of confusing. It just says
It's just up the family tree. You
Up
just
the family
bow.
tree. This is
you just bow
the
up
most
the family
formal.
tree to the
Yeah.
eldest living person.
ceremonial type events, New Year's Days, rites. The next one, Pyeongjul.
Gyeongjol.
Pyeongjul, the standard bow. So this is less still on your hands and knees for the gentleman, and the lady is kind of leaning forward. Those things are sometimes really hard to bend in. So that's if you see these the pictures, which nobody can see because we're talking. about
Unless they bought the book and are reading along. For the listeners who are reading along, we're on page
the ladies
60.
are not bowing over as far because the dresses are harder to do. I think there's like a piece underneath it. It's just you don't
Yeah.
go all the way down.
Yeah.
And so that's the standard bow. And this is when you're greeting someone older, higher rank. It's very similar to the big bow, but you don't stretch your arms out in front. And
For the men.
That's
for
for
the
men.
men, and you immediately come back up after your head touches the back of your hand.
Yeah, I feel like with the kunjo, the like full big bow, you just like basically get on the floor and then hang out there until someone says, "Okay, you can get up now." But like with the pyeongjo as a man, you like it's just a regular. It's the same movement, but you just
Right.
like it's a proper bow. So you like
Yep.
go down and then come back up.
I feel like you see that one a lot in like pop culture and stuff, like
Yeah.
media, like the
Really?
Pyeonggjul bow. I feel like no,
The
maybe
really
not,
big
maybe
bow?
not. No, well, like the standard bow. Like you see, like, because it looks the same as the kunjul, which is the big bow, but essentially just a slight variation.
I feel like I don't ever see.
But they get back up. I feel like I see somebody bow and then get back up.
Yeah, I feel like I never
the
see people do a sitting
Kyunjul.
bow in K-pop or K-dramas.
Well, maybe I just watch the first episodes of many shows, and then you'll
Okay.
you'll
All
apparently
right.
come
Look, I'm
across
not
it.
as wise as you, Patrick. Okay, I'm not as culturally
That's right.
learned as thee.
That's right.
Okay.
In the 3
All
K-dramas
hail
that he's
Patrick,
seen.
dictator.
It's the Patrick
This is-
Show. We've
Yeah,
rebranded.
Patrick, the dictator of the Janchi Show.
Moving on, the
I'm fired.
banjul,
I just got fired.
half bow. So this is performed as a return bow to someone younger. Students, friends, children, adults.
It low-key looks like
friends.
you just ate too much at Korean barbecue and are getting the meat sweats and like
You're sitting down.
need to take a
and then
minute.
Having
you
trouble
kind of put
getting
one
up.
hand down, and you're like, oh, okay, that's good.
Okay, time to get up.
Yeah, and there you go. You got a bow. So this book also has this little cool thing where it has a QR code where you can scan it and it'll go to videos on YouTube of how the bows are done. So if
Did you scan it?
I didn't, I was going to, but then I had to go upstairs and do something, so
Wow.
I forgot
How
to do
dare
it.
you be a
I
good
know.
dad? Jeez.
But my point is, I'm going to do that right after this. I swear. Because I want to see, because I think, I've seen this firsthand. I've seen a few of these at weddings, and I know they always do it, before sometimes, giving money and stuff like that. The big bow was actually done to my parents, my adoptive parents, the first time my biological brother met them at when he came over for my son's doljanchi. And they were here, and they said that they wanted to show respect to my parents when they met them, and that was they set them down so that my parents were sitting, and then they got on the ground and did this bow, and they it was very I don't know, it was very moving at the time because it was just showing something that again, it was this form of respect that I didn't think about my brother wanting to do, I guess. I mean, you show respect to when you meet people and stuff, but to actually show respect to my adoptive parents for raising me is something I didn't expect them to do like that.
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting moment and touching. So I wish it's definitely something I'll probably remember forever. So, and my parents will remember too.
I actually really love the tradition of bowing because I think it is so physical and so physically puts yourself beneath another person. And I wish that there was something similar to that in the West, but there really isn't,
We're all verbal.
Yeah.
When it comes to affirmation or stuff like
Even
that.
when you say in a drama show, you're like, oh, don't make me beg for it. And be like, no, I'm going to make you beg for it, And then there's it's just not the same. But if you, in a K-drama or something, you're like, don't make me beg for it. Or I'm going to make you beg for it. Then the person literally gets down on their hands and knees in some type of bow or bends themselves very far over to the 90-degree at the waist bow. If you've ever done it, it's a really humbling posture to take on, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the child's pose in yoga, I think, is your comeback resting pose because it is you're centering your power in that way. I think as you do that, and I think of that in a bowing sense, I guess, as we learned about it.
You said child's pose, and I immediately went to happy baby pose, which is not at all the same, I think, but now I'm just imagining you and
I don't
happy
know what
baby.
that one is.
Happy baby, you're on your back, and you reach your hands up to your toes.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I know, yeah. No, this is when you're pretty much in bow position, and you're out like this.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay.
I have done
Good
yoga
talk.
so few times that I do not. All I know.
I
is
have
the
done
T
yoga
pose.
once, but Sarah loves it. So between Sarah,
Emily really
between
enjoys it.
Sarah's yoga and the couple of times that I played Wii Fit Trainer,
And I've broken the track on my thing from laughter, laughing too loud.
So then the next section was interesting. It started talking about eye contact, which is something that in all these photos of the sitting bow, you're not making eye contact. You're kind of looking down and bowing. So the eye contact is interesting because it's talking about when you're scolding somebody or something. In Western culture, you always say, "Okay, well, I'm scolding."
Look at me when I'm talking.
Look
to
at me
you.
when I'm talking to you. But in Korean
many
culture,
times.
apparently, it's the opposite. It's like, "How dare you look at me while I'm talking to you and yelling at you?" So apparently, you're not supposed to look at them. Which I guess my son is definitely Korean because he never looks at me when I scold him. So.
Well, I feel like the eye contact can connote like defiance. Like in the West, like I think the West is almost built on like this liberal defiance.
Well,
or
especially
whatever the case
America
is.
being like, yeah, forget
Right,
you other
yeah.
nations that we came from. We're gonna do our
Exactly.
own thing. So
Where a lot of I feel like in Korea there's a lot of like shame and humility, like you like to humble the people or humble yourself and not be so overt and like going against whatever the thing is, like if you're not the Jangmen or the Jangmen
Jangma.
wait, am I saying that right? Jangman. Jangnam.
Opang Changnam style.
Yeah. But yeah, just going outside of that, I feel like eye contact makes that more likely to happen because it's like, well, now I'm fired up and I'm going to go back at you.
Yeah.
Whereas you're looking down in a way, it's like you're receding from the.
Or in the case of my
Whatever.
son, just not listening. But yeah.
Oh, you said he's Korean because he doesn't make eye contact, but it's because he's not paying
I
attention.
think that's really the key on that one.
You should just like yell both things at him. Be like, look at me when I'm talking to you. Are you looking at me while I'm scolding you? Just really confuse him. Like, I don't understand, Dad. Dad, I don't get it. He's like, well, you're Korean and American, so figure it out. And a couple of other things.
Figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I also think it's like a predator thing, like that eye contact denotes intensity. So it's like
sure.
almost more animalistic that you're gonna stare down another predator. It's like that mental game, that
Yeah.
chess game of Nunchi, essentially.
Are you getting aggressive back
Right.
with me with your eyes?
Yeah. So that was not new information to me, but it was good to be reminded of.
Interesting.
Oh, actually, I thought this was interesting. So there's a little section of the book that just says talks about saving face, and I think that expression exists kind of in America, or that sensibility exists in America, where you, like, especially in like high society or polite society, where you like don't want to do something that is rude, and so sometimes you like won't outright say no. You'll like have to figure out a way around that so that you're declining, but it's like not because you don't like the person, even if it's definitely because you don't like the person, you're like not outrightly saying that, or you don't correct someone in public, you correct them in private. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole weird thing, but yeah, it's just an interesting thing to think about, and it can make for some very windy conversations and a whole host of excuses in order to not say the thing that you really mean to say. Can lead to indirect communication, I guess is what I'm looking for. That's the term. So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Just defer to your elders in the decision-making process, essentially,
Yes.
is what I read. Kind of.
Yeah, it's a whole weird thing. But I feel like if you're familiar at all with like the genteel South or the rich waspy North in America, you probably get saving face. But if you're a plebe, then it's maybe new information and is what it is. Just go watch some Gilmore Girls and you'll get it. So
Plebe! That was a good echo. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if we're all caught up on etiquette, then we might as well serve up a warm dish of food.
So
Cool.
For the listeners at home,
I'm receiving
serving
it
up
with
food.
two hands outstretched far away from my body.
Yeah, we have
감사합니다.
not done some snacks on our solo show in a while, so we thought we would break something open. Do we want to come back
Yep.
with a...
We
just
need
in
to
case we
take a
have
break here, and then when we come back, we will eat some food times.
All right, we are back with some tasty
Oh,
snacks.
what is it?
Nathan,
is it?
what
I
are
was
we-
gonna ask
what
you
are we
it is.
tasting today?
Okay.
Oh.
It is lotte. Lotte butter coconut. It is a sweet biscuit. Mine does not have any Korean on it. It just says
Neither
butter
does mine.
coconut since 1979.
It has some French on it. In the top left corner, it says "ouvrir," which means open, I think, in French. I think.
boy.
You are
Yes.
always looking for that
Oh, wait.
open sign. Yeah, I am gonna open it where it says
I
open.
never am.
These look very good. Oh, there's lots of them in here.
They smell
Oh,
very
goodness.
good.
Okay, so these
This open sign
Already
sucks. I can't open it. Scissors, here we come.
it's this is reminiscent of those other coconut crackers that we had.
Have we had other coconut crackers?
Yeah, those really good ones.
What?
Oh, I mean, they had like I thought they had a coconut flavor to it.
Oh, he's talking about. Oh, I threw my box away. Dang it.
Yeah,
the
Kosomi.
Kosomi cracker.
Oh, okay.
But these are thicker.
Kosomi
so
is sesame,
already
not
these.
coconut.
Oh, yeah, but it had a coconut flavor to it. I feel, but okay,
They do
so
have a
these look
similar
like,
flavor.
What do these
For a
look like?
while.
The butter. Not Ritz, but they look like the long
Biscoff cookies.
biscuit cookies.
Biscoff cookies.
Biscoff,
Like you get
yeah.
on Delta Airlines.
Yeah, it's got some sugar on it. It's thick. It's not
Like the
super
club
thin.
cracker.
Yeah, it's
got a
got
little
like
honey.
ridges. It's got
You do taste
these are
like
good.
Kosomi crackers. Sorry, I'll say that without a bunch of food in my mouth. These do taste like Kosomi crackers.
very crunchy. See,
Yeah.
they're just thicker.
Wow.
They're much thicker than the Kosomi crackers, but these would be really good with coffee.
Yeah.
It's got a good
These are
snap,
good.
well roasted.
Yep.
There's a proper biscuit. Yeah,
I like it's not
the
overdone.
Kosomi crackers are like crackers,
Yeah.
and there's a proper biscuit. So if you want something a little more substantial, but also like those Kosomi crackers had, I think like little crystals of something. Oh, this also does. Never mind.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Yeah, it does.
There you go.
This one does too.
Definitely thicker. I'm missing the coconut flavor though, because it says butter coconut. I don't really taste a whole lot of coconut. Yeah,
I
it's
taste
more
the butter.
buttery than coconutty. But it's got a, like you said, it's got a good crunch. It's thick, and there's a lot of them in this one little package. Which the whole box was, I want to say the whole box was like 12 of these little packages. So you get, how many were in here? About 15 crackers, 12 crackers or something. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 10.
Dude.
I only have 5 left.
How? Jeez.
What?
So if
want
you
some
want,
pop top, you
you
just
want
can't
some butter
stop.
coconut crackers, a lot of them. This could be a good box to buy.
Don't come to my house because I've already eaten them.
Yeah, if you ever want to try anything, just stay away from Patrick.
Yep.
He will probably have already finished the thing that you want to try and will be eating the thing that is already yours.
I don't know. I think Lotte is killing it. These are pretty tasty.
Lote's got
Yeah.
those stat game on lock. I don't know why I struggled so much.
Because you have
to say
5
that,
crackers
but-
in your mouth. That's why.
He's now done with his package.
He
He's literally eating the last cracker.
when it's the
I have 3 left
one bite
after this one.
challenge, the Patrick 1 bite challenge.
Yeah, you have to stuff
the whole
all 15
package.
crackers into your mouth.
This would be hard.
Oh, yeah.
It would be dry.
Yeah.
You
lots
might die
of
a
crunch.
little bit.
Like
Yeah.
you probably get your gums cut up. Oh, if you
No
cough,
ingredients, but
you're done for.
I don't know. You can look it
Must
up.
be on the big
Lotte
box.
butter coconut. Sweet biscuit. Sweet biscuit.
Sweet, sweet biscuit. That's a new slogan for you, Lotte. For your butter coconut biscuits.
I want to dip
sweet,
this in
sweet
coffee
biscuit.
or Nutella.
Oh, Nutella. Yep.
All right, let's get into ratings.
5 coconuts.
5. These are really good. I love the taste. I like that they're more substantial than equivalent size snacks of other Korean variety.
What?
Because usually they take the route
Yeah, it's
of
true.
being lighter
Like the
on the
Kosomi
lighter
crackers.
side. With less filling or, yeah.
It is.
But this is
It
like
is
a
a hearty
substantial cracker, which I enjoy.
That-
and there's a
yeah,
lot of them
you're
in
not-
there. So
Definitely
that's a 5.
You're not just
That
getting like
equals
one
a
in
5
there.
for me.
That's pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 4.5, only because I think I like the Kosomi crackers better. It had a little more flavor to it. These are good because they're still really thick and flavorful, but I think I like the Kosomis a little better. But I don't know. Again, that just shouldn't really affect the rating of this. I think it's still pretty good. It's a little dry for me, and that's why I'm wishing I'd had my coffee. So that's why I'm giving it a 4.5. It's almost a 5.
Okay.
Is your mouth okay? Like, can you produce saliva at an effective rate? Nathan?
I
No,
don't know.
Nathan.
Me?
I don't know.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not worried about your mouth, Patrick. Actually, I'm a little worried for the other direction. And your mouth seems a little overeager to get, eat food in it. But
Oh, I salivate at the right things. So, yeah.
okay, that's the ticket.
Good answer.
All right. I'm gonna give this a 4. I think it's a good product. It's not an amazing product. Like, if Close on Me is the perfect 6 out of 5, then yeah, I think that this gets about a 4. Like, Close on Me, like I said, it has that extra dimension, and I think this could have an extra dimension if you could taste the coconut. But since you can't taste the coconut, it feels a little false advertising. I do like the thickness. I like the snap. It's roasted well. All those things that y'all have talked about. So it's not like incredible. It's not like blow your mind. I have to have this, whatever. So yeah, I'd say it's a solid 4.
Yeah, and to be fair, they call it a biscuit. So a biscuit, in my mind, would be thicker and more of a something like this. The other one is Kosume cracker, so it is a cracker. So maybe that's the distinction too.
I guess I don't like coconut as much, so maybe that's why I liked
Okay.
it a little bit more. Because I couldn't taste the coconut.
Oh wait,
But I do understand the false advertising bit of
I
it.
think I'm getting a hint of it.
At
As
the
you
very
were
end
as
of
you
a
were
bite?
saying coconut. So I think what you have to do is you have to really focus on what coconut flavor is, and then Jimmy Neutron it while you're eating it, and then you will get
little
the
inception.
slightest
Perfect.
hint of it,
Okay.
maybe on your lips after you have finished the whole package.
Coconut.
Does that help? Do you taste it?
For everyone at home, Nathan's eyes are sealed shut. He is trying so
taste
hard to
butter.
imagine coconut flavoring.
Yeah,
Butter and sugar.
I don't know. Did
Smells
Jimmy
great
Neutron
though.
that hard
I was
enough?
trying to
Yeah.
smell the coconut.
It does smell good.
Nope, don't smell the coconut either.
So yeah, that's why I give it a 4. It's a pretty good product.
Yeah.
It's just not perfect.
I'd still eat them again,
So
and I will finish this package.
I would
Although
eat
my
these
I would
again.
love to.
I would
think
buy a whole box.
Now
and try
we
them
need
again.
to like create a list of all the things that we think would be improved with coffee, and then do an episode where we try those things with coffee.
Coffee
and see if that
talk.
actually
There we go.
improves.
Coffee talk with Janchi Show.
Copy.
What is that? Where are we from now?
Coffee talk with Janchi
Yeah, but it's like New Jersey meets
Australia.
Cockney.
Or English.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I say. I don't do accents.
funny.
Sorry.
Well,
This is we've
I make up my own country.
I'm making my own place. Nathandia.
Nate
But-
India.
Yes, good stuff.
All right.
Well, good talk. We'll move on
was
with our
great.
chapter. We'll move on to the next section. Thanks for everyone listening to our solo show again.
Do we have a sneak peek? Sneak
A
peek.
sneak peek. Yes, we
Yep,
do.
sneak peek at the next chapter of the book.
Oh, yes. Jung and Han?
We do.
Jung and yeah, I mean, it's in the table of contents, bro. But if you're just listening along and you're not reading, then
That's true. They
so
wouldn't
next
see that.
week, sorry, in 2 weeks,
What
we'll
was
be
it?
talking about Jung and Han, which
Something.
I'm very interested.
Jung
Very
and
good.
We have touched
Han.
on Han briefly before and in the past. But,
Yeah.
so yes, we will dive deeper into it, I think.
Yeah, I feel like if there's 4 Korean
We'll dive
words for you
deep.
to know, there's 안녕하세요, 감사합니다. That's hello and thank you. That's just like for using. But then like to really get into the culture of Korea, you got to know nunchi, you got to know Han. I think those are like 2 of the big things you should know as a Korean or a person interested in Korean culture. So I'm excited to dive into one of those.
Sounds good.
I am.
In the
too.
meantime,
you
check
know
us out
it.
on Facebook After Party, where we talk and mingle virtually. You can, of course, find us on all platforms at The Janchi Show. You can email us at janchishow@justlikemedia.com. I don't know why that was delayed. And you can, of course,
just
support
worked
us
for Patrick to
at
edit.
janchishow.com
I'll fix it.
/support. We also have some awesome resources that KJ so pleasantly put up online. Those are Yes, thank you.
Thank
I mean,
you,
I
KJ.
displayed them. Patrick wrote most of them.
Oh, then thank you,
Patrick
for
collated
writing.
the list. It's a Janchi Boys production of research that Patrick has done
Good job,
by
guys.
Patrick and KJ.
Nice.
Yes, I didn't do
involved.
anything.
Nice. I'm involved.
And of course, you can find me at No Walk Photo on Instagram. That's it. Next.
Wow.
You can find me at Patrick in the World on Instagram. I also started another Instagram called Patrick Reads _. I am trying to read one book a week and then write about it a little bit on Instagram. So I just did Heart and Soul because I just finished that and it was amazing. And I highly recommend that book to anyone by former guest Jen Frederick. But yeah, that's where you can find me. KJ?
Yeah, former guest, fellow adoptee, forever friend, Jen Frederick. You can find me at KJ Relke wherever I want to be found on the internet, or if you want to find me in Texas, you can also do that because I will be there soon. I think.
Texas.
Or I will already be there.
You'll probably
What's your
already be
address?
there by the time this airs.
It is 2201 East Hebron Parkway. That's
What's your credit card number?
Social Security.
1237452
Your PIN number.
6712 49 86. Expires 0427 and the CVV is 000. I think that's right.
Oh, that's the most
Dang it!
unbelievable part.
I mean, that random string of numbers was entirely believable? All right.
That was totally believable. But speaking of numbers, if you could also head over to Apple
Pad
Podcasts
our
and leave us
numbers.
a pad our numbers with a rating, a review, a like, and subscribe, any of that. That would be really great. It helps us get more exposure for the show, and it's just really nice to see those messages come in. I always enjoy it because, of course, as you know,
Yeah, he
I need
does
to feed my ego.
Patrick's,
So,
Patrick's
Lego my
ego is
ego.
hungry.
Feed me, Seymour.
I'm hungry. I'm Patrick's ego. What?
All right, thanks for stopping by, Patrick's
right,
ego.
well-
we'll see you next week on the Janchi
Okay,
Show.
bye.